Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, Plaids.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Plaid Podcast. We are the Plaids, and we would do anything for love. But we won't do that. No, we won't do that. Not really.
Are you gonna keep going?
It's not really a beatboxing song. It's a power ballad, dude.
I want to know what love is.
Boom, boom, boom.
I want you to
it doesn't
show
work.
me. Oh, man.
That was last episode.
Fuck Zoom.
Anyways.
Anyway, okay.
My name is Dan Wilhelm.
My name is Christopher Hall, my little piggy counterpart. Hi!
And I'm Jake Hildebrand. Great to have you all back. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, Dan, what are we talking about?
Brad is unable to join us.
Right. Yeah.
He, if possible, he will try and come in late. But we're not going to hold our breaths. We are back, and today, as a post-Valentine's Day episode, we're going to talk about love and dating and all that wonderful stuff. Our last episode was released on Valentine's Day, but we weren't really prepared to talk about our love lives at that point. So we decided to save it for this episode. All right.
Yeah.
May I say one thing just quick?
Sure can.
Yeah. Earlier this month, it was Chris's birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday, Queenie. Happy belated
You're
birthday.
welcome. I even
Queen.
moisturized and put on my crown for you today and brought my little best friend with me.
Hey, there she is.
Aw,
That
I have
anticipatory statement. Thank you very much.
I have her boyfriend over here.
Who? Oh, Kermie.
Hi ho.
Hi, fucker!
Watch your language.
You wanna?
I want a
What?
hand puppet.
Not here.
Okay, well, we can take it off offline.
Okay,
Hey,
later.
bye.
Yeah. Okay, bye, honey.
Hey, I'm Hunter. This is Hunter, my twin.
Oh no.
I'm jealous because you guys have hand puppets and I don't.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Very handy.
look at the stuff that's behind
Handy.
me. You think I don't have hand puppets too, as well as toys and other things. This is my own little toy store back here.
We love our toys.
Yeah.
Woo!
But that's another subject or another sub-subject in the discussion of love and sex, and well, maybe not sex, but we don't have to talk about that.
If it actually leads to that, we're going to get ghosted or slow faded. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how's so the three of us are the single Plaids.
Mhm.
Correct. Brad is the only married Plaid. I have previously been married and now divorced for quite a while now. Nearly was engaged to get remarried. That did not end well. And now I'm just single.
Mhm.
Woo!
And
Cool.
not that I have a lot of time to date, but I don't date a lot. Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happily single for the most part. I kind of go, I'm kind of like a push-pull. Like I feel like when I'm in a relationship, sometimes depending on who it is, I get like freaked out and I want to be single. Then when I'm single, I feel like I don't want to be. But I've been, I was common law for several years, very young, and then I from that point I dated pretty severely. Like I put myself out there quite frequently in my 30s, and then yeah, and I've had a long distance relationship before with somebody in Brazil. So at least I've checked off that box. And yeah, and around town a few here and there. I maybe lasted 2 to 3 months within that realm in town. But yeah, overall, yeah, I mean, I've dated in different realms, whether it's just for getting to know somebody on like an exclusive standpoint or friends with benefits, long-term relationships. So I've kind of had different realms of flavors and I guess subcategories, which includes long distance. But as of present day, I'm still on the apps. I'm meeting people here and there, but it's still a bit of a challenge, especially with COVID and things slowly opening up. I think, to be honest, people just forget how to communicate. So that's kind of where it stands, where I'm at. So
right,
Jake.
Well, my dating life has been one hell of a roller coaster ride, full of ups and downs, but mainly downs. But I mean, I can't compete with the two of you.
We're significantly
older.
older.
It's because both of you have more life experience than I do, and like I'm gonna be 30 by the end of this year, and yeah, still I can't compete with what you guys went through with your dating lives, marriages, all that good stuff.
Right? Yeah, you've not been married, and
no.
Don't say good.
I'm like the only one here who hasn't been married.
And don't say all that good stuff, because it really wasn't all good stuff.
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Because it's not always good stuff.
Yeah. Well, hell no. Trust
me.
Hell no.
So currently for all three of us, we are single, right? Not actually dating anyone, correct?
Not exclusively.
Right. Chris, you're pretty active on the dating apps, correct?
At times, yes.
Right? Yeah. I I've not had that much luck at all, really, on any of the dating apps. I've probably mentioned before, the only time I ever matched with anyone was somebody was a couple of girls who wanted to girls, quote unquote, because I'm not even sure they were actually, but they wanted to just sell me Bitcoin.
And want your WhatsApp.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
So the dating apps have not been very successful for myself. I think for myself, I tend to meet people better in person.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, but the problem is that when in a public setting, like just out in the world, I'm pretty quiet and shy. Like going to the store or at a restaurant or something like that, I'll talk to whoever's serving me or whatever, but not to that point where I'm just being all charming and hey, right? Oh, hey, like here's my phone number, that kind of stuff, right? I'm much better at that sort of thing with someone that I know a little bit better, like in a work environment or like a show environment or something like that, right? Because that's primarily where I've met most of my previous significant others, right?
Previously enjoyed companions.
Previously enjoyed.
I am not a slut. I am a previously enjoyed companion.
Woo!
So yeah, it's not, contrary to popular belief, I may be a flirt, but only in certain settings. So I'm actually quite shy.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it gets hard to meet people out in public, right? Like you hear stories of people, he came into my store all the time and we started talking and we decided to go out for drinks and now here we are married 9 years later, that kind of thing, right? Like I don't do that, right? I can't do that.
Love at first sight.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know, but that, like that's just kind of one of the things that I struggle with.
Right.
So, but I don't know about you guys.
I'm actually dying to hear Chris's dating life because for those who don't know, Chris is really into Latinos from the other side of the border.
What's a Latino?
Oh, do you know what a Latino
Oh,
is?
yes, I do.
Well, you know what Latino is. From
Oh,
the
you-
other side of the wall.
If you're watching the video on YouTube, you just saw Chris perk right up.
Hola,
my-
¿cómo
My
estás?
cortisol all went up. It's like, oh, almost my ass.
Whoa.
No,
Woo!
you can bleep that out, please.
Oh no, I'm not
no, I mean,
editing any of
Too
this.
late.
Are a very welcoming, romantic, just upbeat community. I've always been drawn to them, just men, women, and whatnot. And I just find the whole, even country of Mexico, for example, I really felt like I really immersed myself into the Mexican culture when I was in Puerto Vallarta. And at the same time, I met about 3 contenders who I still talk to. But that's just not the whole, like, my whole emphasis of dating. Latinos are just as much as Caucasians or Asians, Chinese, Koreans. I've dated various types of people from different cultures, and for me,
They're just your favorite flavor,
I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
They know how to
Point
dance.
blank.
They're
so
just,
to speak.
they're just, I don't know. They're just great people. I just love them.
Yeah.
But not every person in a category is all going to be the same. It's one thing I have learned about culture. It's not necessarily the culture, it's the character. Because I did date somebody from Brazil for several years, maybe 3 years or so, and long distance, as I was mentioning before. And I've never met somebody who is such a manipulating gaslighter, who would basically make me feel like I'd have to question my own sanity on my feelings, right? He would basically kind of go back and forth and say, like, when I had some family stuff going on and I was feeling quite upset going down there for a visit, he provided me with the silent treatment for about 10 days, the only 10 days I was there. And he basically said, oh, you're changed and blah, blah, blah. So it's all about character. It's not necessarily culture, whether they're from Canada or Brazil or whatnot, right? So that particular relationship, I had to leave. It was just causing me so much distress. And when I did finally end it, my life just lifted. I just felt like this mental fog just lifted. It was pretty horrible. Not only
I can sympathize.
dealing with
I can
someone
relate
who's
to
a
that.
gaslighter, but also long distance is such a challenge in itself, and waiting for text messages to come through and time zones. And it was just like, so I'm glad I had the experience, because we got to see, number one, another country. I got to see beautiful Brazil. And number two, got to learn some life skills of dealing with gaslighters and narcissists. And number three, surviving it. And then just number four, just being able to look back and say, hey, I did that, right? It's and there was no regret, right? I mean, that was one of a few, right? But nowadays it's more of the apps like Bumble, Tinder, Grindr, Scruff. There's several of these apps that I use in the gay community for men to meet other men. A lot of them just love to talk on the apps. They don't necessarily want to meet up, because COVID's still around us and whatnot. But there was one example of this last gentleman I was talking to for about 3 weeks rather, pardon me. And they get all excited in the very beginning, and it's like a ping pong back and forth of interest. And I try to give what I get, and lots of great conversations going on. And then suddenly it just reached a point where it was just like the questions weren't being asked back. The answers would just be, the question would just be answered. So that was what we would categorize as a slow fade.
Right.
So there's the slow fade, and they basically will answer all your questions, but they won't directly tell you they're not interested anymore. They're just going to make you assume that you're not desired anymore by them. So you'd have no choice but to sort of just like get the message. So that's what happened with whatever. I was going to call him Wesley. I don't really care if he hears it or not. He can kiss my ass. But
You tell him.
yeah.
Shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, and I've experienced slow fades before. And then I had another gentleman who's call him the flight attendant, and I met him in the fall, and he seemed, really interesting. We hung out. I mean, I'm quite successful when it comes to meeting people physically. Some of my other friends and women friends as well don't have that success where they only meet them on the app, and then they either delete them right away or they disconnect and they don't get that opportunity. I've even had a friend who was setting up a meeting just to meet this gentleman right before, and he like disconnected with her without even telling her right before. So that would be classified as a ghost. Yeah, and so I've been fortunate where I've been physically able to meet these people. And for this flight attendant, he again slow faded me and said, would send. And there's also something called breadcrumbing, which they would throw like a little bit of interest here and there when they would already be pulling away for weeks, just to make sure that you're kind of you're their option or option 2 or 3.
Right.
So that's what I experienced with this dude. And he said basically, oh, I'll message you when I get back from when I get to my destination on his flight. And it was January 4th, and then January 24th came along, still no message. I go onto my Grinder and I see he's online in town, yet he could have clearly just messaged me, but suddenly I'm undesirable after all that time of, I'm just going to be honest, just shagging me, whatever. I'm just going to say it. But suddenly I'm just not, I'm just disposed, right? And you just feel shitty, right? I just wish people can be a little bit, can't people just be honest? It's one thing to, it's one thing to not meet the person, and whatever, Gina was disconnected on hers and she hadn't met the person, but I was hanging out with this person for 3 months, and it's like, it's just like, what the hell happened? So I called him out on it. I just basically said like, hey, I haven't heard from you, or is everything okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I've been really busy on a flight with this and that, and I just got really distracted. So I just said, okay, well, I just wanted to make sure you're okay based on your message below. You said you'd message me, but glad to hear it. And I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah.
So those are just 2. I don't want to dominate this section. I want to let Jake talk, but yeah, there's been several instances like that. And I've also been like ghosted completely, where I was talking to the person and we were hanging out, and then they would just cut off all communication, block you, and just not talk to you at all. So there's like the slow fade, there's the ghost, and then there's the breadcrumbing prior to a slow fade. So yeah, those definitions make sense. But yeah, I had about 3 in a row. Had the Caesar, the flight attendant, and then the Wesley, and it's just like, okay. But to be honest, like, for now, as this arises, I'm looking forward to the next one, because I'm going to be prepared for it. So it makes me stronger and it makes me more resilient, and you just get over it quicker now. Like it's unfortunately, I think it's just the way modern dating is. It's just how it is now.
Oh, it's so different even from what 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. With these apps and stuff like that, right? People aren't meeting face to face, and
the internet.
With the internet, right? And I know so many people who have met their spouse or partner or whatever through the internet somehow, right? And I think one of the problems is that it's so much easier to let someone down by ghosting them, right? Because you don't actually have to deal with the emotional repercussions, if there are any, right? Like if you guys have been talking, and somebody starts to get feelings for you, and then but maybe you're not feeling the same thing, right? It's just super easy to just like cut off all communication. Yeah, I'm not interested in this person, right? Something's not working, I'm out. Done.
But that's when the slow fade comes in, because they think that's even nicer thing to do.
If you're
that's cruel. That's
right.
More cruel.
Yeah, there's that, or you're just like completely done, completely shut off, right? It's just the internet is so impersonal.
Right.
So it's just a lot easier for people to cut you off.
Well, I
kind
mean, it's one thing if it's the internet, but like, are you talking about people who've actually physically met you?
of. Yeah, it's happened a few times.
I mean, I just think if you've hung out with somebody for at least a couple of months, like the last one, I'm going to let him go because I never actually met him.
Mhm.
But if you've actually physically met these people and you just go ahead and like just play these games and you just like do these, especially the slow fade, I think is the cruelest because you're giving people hope and you're answering the questions, and it's just such a pet peeve of mine. And it's like, just be honest, just say it's not, I'm sorry, I'm just not, I'm just not feeling it, or whatever. Even if
Yeah.
it's a friends with benefits or whatever, like
Just
anyway, sorry guys, it's frustrating. It's just
yeah, I was gonna say, just be honest. If you're not interested, it's fine. Just tell me so I can move on and find someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be frustrating. So yeah, I feel your pain, Chris.
right. But I also need to add, I mean, if you these people that I've worked with, so to speak, I'm just putting them like producers or directors or actors. In their mind, I'm sure if they haven't made a commitment to you, like you're my boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, they, in their mind, they're probably a little bit more justified. Like, oh, we were never a thing anyways. So I can sort of see that realm as well. But people need to understand that people are still humans,
Mhm.
right? There, people have humans, and well, people are humans. Duh. They possess feelings and emotions, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're evil people. I guess maybe they're just not for us, and they're doing us a favor and letting us know who they truly are. Why would we want to be with somebody who just isn't an honest person, or have different ways of cowardly getting out of situations? I wouldn't want somebody like that in my life to spend the rest of my life with, or even be associated with as a friend. Like, people can't say that they're that busy to reply to a text that'll take 2 minutes. Like,
Yeah, that's a pretty big pet peeve of mine as
right.
well. Just that non-responsive, right? Like, even I have a few friends, like, I always seem to be the one making the effort of trying to find a time to hang out, right? Like, hey, let's go have a drink or something like that, right? Let's go see a movie, right? So send them a text message and nothing, right? Or, oh, I can't. I can't that night, whatever, right? Okay, then when,
Call me bitch.
right? Like,
Yeah,
at least,
yeah, don't leave me hanging.
yeah, at least, like, I will usually, if in the rare occasion that somebody asks me, like, hey, you want to go for a drink? And if I can't that particular time that they're suggesting, I'll usually offer an alternative, right? Like, I can't on Friday night. I am free on Saturday. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Right. Because it's nice to do, right? But most of the girls that I talk to, they don't ever offer that, right? And like, I kind of take that as a hint, like, okay, you're not interested, right? It's pretty good sign that you don't want
Say
to.
something, I'm giving up on you.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. I apologize.
Too late to order fries.
Damn it,
Quarter
Quentin.
pounder with fries. Okay.
Yeah, like when you're
Pounders.
when you're making 99% of the effort to maintain a friendship or a relationship, or that effort to, like, hey, let's get to know each other, maybe this will go somewhere, right? When there's no response, I mean, it's pretty good I think it's a pretty good sign that they're not interested. They have other priorities. Like, okay, guess I have to move on.
I've also been on the other side of the coin when someone's actually told me, sorry, not interested. And that's pretty brutal to hear and at face value.
Yeah, when it's that harsh.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I've got that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And one time I replied back saying, well, I guess the marriage is off. And they just said, what marriage? I'm like, oh, okay, you don't have a sense of humor, so you never were worth my time anyways.
Yeah.
But that's yeah. I mean, I for me, like, if I'm chatting to somebody, like, and I don't feel comfortable, and they make me feel uncomfortable, if my intuition tells me otherwise, I don't
Mhm.
mind just blocking them. If I haven't actually met the person, in my
Right.
opinion, in my experience, the Chris Hall way, not the Miss Pig way, you don't really owe anybody anything. But for me, I think when it reaches that physical standpoint of investing that one-on-one time for like months at a time, you do owe someone an explanation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just would be like more noble if someone did that instead
Yeah.
of like just leave you out of the blue, like you don't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
I mean, I could have easily just gone on back to that one guy and said, "Well, I see you on Grinder, so why don't you message me back?" Like,
So-
I'm so well, you're not busy enough not to go on Grinder. So that makes me look like the crazy bitch, right?
No.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. But
Yeah.
that makes us look crazy. And we need to also recognize how we're coming across. Because if we go back and place a message back to them, saying, calling them out on something, to them, it'll say, "Well, I rest my case. They were crazy." So
Mhm.
there's no point at replying or even engaging with these people. As soon as you're sensing that they're pulling away, or even trying, or if you try like one last ditched effort to engage with them and they answer the question and that's it, and don't ask you anything else, take that as a sign just to leave. Like they're giving you a gift. That's
Yeah.
how I'm looking at this now.
Yeah.
There's no point of groveling over. It's like a dog going back to its vomit, right?
Yeah.
No, but why
Yeah,
would you want to
it's,
go back to your vomit?
Yeah. It's a hard it's a hard line, right? Like, do you appreciate honesty, right? Like,
Mhm.
just say, I kind of would rather just be friends, but also it sucks getting your feelings hurt, right? And I know like a lot of people don't want to hurt your feelings, right? Which is why they lead you on, sort of thing, right? Or they leave those breadcrumbs and then sort of just fade away, kind of thing, right? Because they might not want to hurt your feelings, right? So it's like, do you don't want these hints to be dropped, right? That they're not interested, but at the same time you'd say you don't necessarily want, yeah, I don't think we should see each other anymore, right? Because they both kind of suck, right? So where's that middle ground for that sort of thing, right? So it's a hard it's one of those weird gray areas, I suppose.
Yeah.
Jake,
Yeah.
what are your experiences in
I'm glad you asked. I get overlooked so much.
He made his own short joke. That was not me. I did not make the short joke this time.
Had to slide that in there somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna?
You wish.
No, I don't. But yeah.
No.
No.
I'm just fucking with you, Chris.
Oh, don't say it that way.
Oh no, not in that way. No. Chris, I love you, but I only see you
Well,
as a
same
friend.
thing.
See, I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest
The
with you.
feeling's
See,
mutual. Hello.
yeah. Why can't most people be like that or communicate this way?
I love you like a brother.
You like me like a sister too. You just don't screw your
That's,
sister, right?
But no, Chris, I
Sorry,
love you
Jake,
like a sister.
thank you.
I love you like a sister. Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, we're
Okay. Yeah. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. So I've never been much of a picky person myself. Doesn't matter if a woman is older than me, shorter than me, younger than me, or taller than me, or overweight, skinny, different color of skin. It comes down to like how strongly I connect with this person and see if I have a future with them.
Right.
Yeah, and I've never been the one to go on dating apps because the last time I was on a dating app, I got fished, and it was no fun.
Fished?
Fished $300.
Oh
What do you
wow.
mean, Jake? Can you explain what fish means and what do you mean by the $300?
Yeah. Oh, PFISH.
Fish. Oh,
Yeah.
so how did that come about?
Yeah. I was a naive little kid who just really wanted to be with someone. It was like I was like 20, 21, where like everyone around me was in a relationship and I felt like the lone wolf.
Right.
And yeah, and so yeah, I was very desperate. I wanted to like, go on a dating website, and I went on the wrong one, and yeah, I was ripped about like $10 a message I was sending to like a computer.
Wow.
Yeah, a computer like generated person on the website. But
Wow.
so yeah, I stopped going on dating websites since, because I like to do things traditional way, meet people in person.
Right.
And yeah, my first date wasn't until I was 25 years old. So 25 years old. So I was pretty late into the dating game, because like before never really got out much, or like I was often misunderstood, or people didn't think I'd be capable of not having a lot to offer when it comes to relationships. But yeah, my first one was when I was 25. And yeah, like the person I was with had some emotional baggage, and like, and yeah, the breakup didn't end well. She broke up with me through a text a week before my 26th birthday, and was blaming me for her failing at Langara, which obviously I appreciated. Not really. Yeah, so yeah, and then so I had to cut her out of my life for good. And my second one was when I was in a show. Chris, you know who this person is.
Individual.
Sorry?
The individual at
Yeah.
the subject matter at hand, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, we had a good thing going on, only like in a 2-month span. And she dumped me through a text after my grandma died.
Wow.
Yeah, which I didn't really appreciate at all. Rest in peace, grandma, I love you. Anyway, but yeah, and like she kept on texting me like weeks later, like nothing happened. And back then I was like a big people pleaser. Like I'm forced to like roll along with the given situation. But I wish I would have handled it much differently back then, because like, or just be more open and honest, instead of like say some blunt things that hurt her emotionally. Because like she was another one who had emotional baggage, and like I can't speak for her, but I also felt like at the same time I felt like emotionally connected with this person. It was like complicated. Like I was like super sensitive, like very clingy with people back then. And yeah, and like it took me a long time to get over that and move on and like just block her completely. And then my third relationship, like it was definitely a lot better, because I mean, she genuinely loved me for who I was. And like when we like reconnected during the pandemic, and like she was so sweet and so loving and so compassionate. And like I've been telling a lot of people that I was having a great time with this person, and like this is like the love and compassion I never got from my past relationships, and it really meant a lot. But yeah, as the months went by, early 2021, like it's annoying that she always like plays the victim, because like she had mild autism, and like like doesn't think that she'll be able to make it, even though like I convinced her many times, like if I have my own challenges and I went through it all, then you can too. And like God knows how many times I tried to like cheer her up and like support her on that. And then when I was doing a show called Duets, I was working with these 3 women, like strong, capable women who like really fully embraced life. I realized I'm missing out on some incredible women here. And so yeah, I realized that like I grew unhappy with the person I was with at the time, and as freaking hard as it really was, I knew I had to do what was best for me and what was best for her. And yeah, I had to like, I thought it would be noble if I just do a FaceTime, like just tell her up front, because like I don't want to be one of those assholes who just dumps her through a text message. I knew that would be very shitty of me. So yeah, as really tough as it was, like I had to be completely honest and call it quits, and just watch her not take it very well. It was really hard to watch, and I felt horrible. And I mean, we still talked once or twice since then, so I think we're on good terms. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, it seems like she has nothing against me, and of course, I have nothing against her because she's one of the nicest people I've known. It's just, it's just a shame that she always plays the victim,
Right.
and like it's tough when you can't help people who can't help themselves. And yeah, I've learned it the hard way, and yeah, and since then, I tried finding somebody, but no matter what happens, I always get ghosted, or I ask people out, they say yes, but I hear nothing, so they pretty much lie to my face, which kind of hurts. And yeah, again, if you're not interested, it's fine. Just please, for the love of God, just be honest. And I, there were like moments in my life where I just wanted to give up because no matter how it goes, it's always going to end the same.
Yeah.
Be a hermit and live in the hills and grow your beard.
Amen to that. So yeah, I've been mainly focused on myself for the time being, songwriting, working, having a great time playing some video games. Like I've been wanting to play the Resident Evil 2 remake. It is so scary, but I had a great time with it. Beat it. It was awesome. So yeah, I'm enjoying a relationship with myself.
You want to date me
And
yourself?
your PS5.
Hell yeah, I want to date myself. Yes, with my PlayStation 5.
Take yourself out for dinner, and
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always benefits when you're single because you can do whatever you want. You can buy your own clothes, buy your own food, like have your own schedule, so you don't have to keep relying on
100%.
Yeah,
but you can
right?
still do that. You can still do those things when you're single, though. Like they can have their own place, depending on how far it goes. Right?
Yeah,
Everyone should be
exactly.
really reliable on their own. It really should be two people coming together who are still independent, but help each other. Be the best versions of each other. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. It's nice to be in a relationship and you can share experiences with them and that kind of stuff, right? But it's also nice to be on your own and you can just kind of go your own schedule and do what you want when you want it,
Totally.
So that's they call it a catch-22, right?
Yeah.
It's like, on the one hand, this is really cool. On the other hand, this is also very cool. Like,
I know it's like balancing out, like enjoying your single life, but at the same time, you can't help, but you really want someone to share your life with.
Yeah.
Or someone's,
Someone's. Hell no.
A couple here and there. Whatever. It depends on, that's kind of the beauty of being single. You can still, if you can multiply date different people, you can schedule them in on different times. You're just going to make sure that they don't overlap. So
yeah, if you don't want to be exclusive
right
with anyone, right, then that's fine. And it's nice too if you let them know too, like you're not exclusive, or just so you know, I am dating someone else as well, or I'm seeing
you got to be honest,
people, right, because that's does not feel good for the other person if they're getting really into you, right, and they want to be exclusive and then they find out like you don't, right, and they're like, oh, actually I've been seeing a couple other people, like, oh, okay, cool.
Where's Brad when we need him?
I think the biggest problem in the dating world is, I think the majority of people out there, I'm probably going to say myself included, most of us just don't know what we want. Like, and I think a lot of people out there don't either. Like, and they just say they do, but then their intentions are they just don't align with what they're presenting to the table, right? Like, it's just, unfortunately with this day and age of technology and options, and you can just swipe left or swipe right so arbitrarily without even like giving any consideration. Like 20 years ago, it was much easier. That's when I first started, when I first came out or whatever. I met my first partner of 10 years, like within 6 months of my coming out process.
Right.
And we had a 3-hour coffee date at Starbucks, and it just seemed like back then things just seemed a lot easier. Things just flowed better. I got that whole like butterfly experience. He was the first guy I ever kissed before, like going into the new millennium, and when the year 2000 happened, we hung out in his car, and it was just really magical.
Yeah.
It was my first times of everything, right? And I never really had that. I was 21, right? So I just think to myself, will I ever have that again? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because we've got so much life experience and jaded baggage behind us, but no, that particular relationship ended up closing because it wasn't healthy for either one of us. We just grew into completely different people, and I was craving to live on my own, be single, go traveling, get involved in performing arts, which I never did at all in my 20s. So it was like I was seeing outside of this dome where I felt stuck and trapped and miserable and fat. I used to smoke almost a pack a day of cigarettes.
Wow.
And I remember seeing through this dome of like, I just wanted to get out of this dome and go to the other side. And then I look at myself 13 years later, and I do have what I wanted. I've got all these productions I've done. I've traveled the world. I've got good friends. I've met several, great dates over my, especially in my 30s, right? So I can honestly say I'm doing what I want to do now. It would be nice to have that balance with someone who can appreciate where I'm at and who I am, because I'm a very unique person who likes to put on certain masks, and
Yeah.
and not anybody's going to appreciate that, right? But I mean, whatever. I mean, as we get older, we just tend to not care as much what other people think. But no, but you also have to think about what we do have and where we've come. And like my best friend Barb said, if I wanted a boyfriend tomorrow, I could get one. But I know, for me personally, I'm incredibly picky. I'm very picky, especially in a very small dating pool of less than 10%, which I have to share with lesbians, bisexuals, transgendered people, like that LGBTQ plus. We're only at 10% of the population. So probably when you factor it down to gay men, maybe 4 to 5%. And then within that 4 to 5%, I have to compete with every one of those singles who aren't exactly my type, right? So that's even smaller, minuscule numbers. I'm just, my mathematic purchasing brain's coming out again. So that it's a challenge.
This is going math and love nerd on us.
Yeah. So
hey, Chris, may I ask you something?
Yeah.
So you said you're pretty picky when it comes to like choosing who to go out with, who to text on dating apps.
Right.
Have you ever thought about broadening your horizons? Like, instead of only choosing Latinos, have you thought about maybe going out with white people? Or
no, I have gone out with white people. The last two were white. The slow fade Wesley was white.
Fade
The
Wesley.
flighted
right.
Tangent was
Okay.
white.
Okay.
As you know, I'm not going to mention his name because I respect him. I do. I just don't understand people's communication styles. But yeah, and as you know, the Caesar in August was a heartbreaker for me during the like the gala night when I was just heartbroken.
Yeah.
She's gone. That bitch is gone.
Yeah, that was harsh. But no, I have, like, I had a date last Saturday with, I think the guy, I don't know where he was from. I thought perhaps he was from Pakistan or whatnot, but I think he might have been black, I think, as well. And he was very nice. Had a great time, and I haven't really heard much since. We just kind of, I don't know. It wasn't bad or anything. I think it was just not a mutual ghost, but
right.
But it was
Here
just
we go again with ghosting.
Yeah,
not a love connection.
We just didn't bother messaging each other. I think it was just a mutual disinterest. And sometimes when that happens, when it's a mutual disinterest, that's almost the best scenario because no one's really getting hurt, right?
For sure, yeah.
I don't know if has anybody ever experienced that before, a mutual, well, I guess it could be called a mutual ghost, but
maybe not to that extent.
Yeah, I have.
You have. So both people in your case weren't interested in one another?
Yeah, this was recently it. And also, it was a bit of a misunderstanding because she thought it was a friendly outing. I thought it was a date. So it was pretty awkward.
Nice.
But she's gone. I moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you all something?
No.
So, all of us
No.
have had. Fine, I'll
ask-
leave then.
You can ask me. Chris is gonna not listen.
I thought you were gonna moon us there for a minute. Oh.
Yeah. So, we've all had rough breakups. We've all
Mhm.
been ghosted, and it's never fun.
Mhm.
But you guys ever feel like the more that happens to you, the more emotionally and mentally stronger you get? Because
Yeah, I
I've
was
had
just mentioning that.
Uh, okay, because I want to tell you, I feel like I've been getting a lot better with that in recent memory, and like I've had a few friends tell me, "Jake, you are so good at letting go so easily." I was like, "Yeah," because I've had some breakups that weren't fun. Not
Yeah.
the worst breakups, but like breakups I didn't wish would end the way they did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good because that shows that you're learning how to deal with things differently, and you're learning things about yourself, right? Like with the breakups that I've been through, some of them were like the hardest things I've ever had to do, right? And just the most difficult times that I've ever gone through in my life. And you, at some point, you stop grieving about it, and then for those that are, I guess you could say, if you're emotionally mature enough, you can kind of look back and see, okay, like I probably could have done this differently too, right? Like
Mhm.
you learn about yourself, right? You learn where you can take responsibility for things that may have happened, and what you could have done differently. Maybe not necessarily trying to figure out how could I have saved the relationship, right? But just learning about yourself and what you can do to improve for the next relationship, right? Like after my my ex-wife and I split up, you know, I did some soul searching, and after I guess about a year or so after we split, I got into a relationship that lasted a few years, and there were mistakes that I knew I had made in my marriage that I was able to not not do, basically, in the next relationship, right? So it's just kind of like improving on yourself, right?
Right.
Learning how to improve on yourself. So I figure eventually I'll get to that perfect relationship, and it'll be just, that's the one. I don't know that we'll get married, but
Who needs it?
like yeah, like you know, and too, like I said, I was also engaged, right? That relationship that I had after my marriage fell apart, we were together for a few years, and we got engaged, right? So, and but you know, it didn't end, or it didn't, we didn't go through with it, right? It didn't end well. So that was difficult to deal with, right? But for a while there before that, I was like, I don't know if I want to get married, right? So, and then now I'm to the point where like I don't, I'm probably I'll be fine if I don't get married again, you know. But if the right person comes along, maybe I'll consider it. You know,
Maybe we might be in our 60s by that point. Who cares?
yeah,
We've got a lot of life to live still.
my grandmother got married again when she was 80.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And her husband was 90.
That's cute.
And yeah, they were, well, I guess they got together when he was 89, because they were together for about 10 years before he passed away. He passed away when he was 99 and a half, I suppose you
Oh.
could say he was. Yeah. So, but that was great, right? Like that gives you hope, saying,
Mhm.
right? Because she had lost her. She had gone through two husbands before that. And both of them had passed away. First one passed away, I guess in the early 50s. My mom was about three years old at the time,
Hmm.
so her father passed away, right? My grandmother's first husband, and then she got married again, and they were together for 50 years until he became ill and passed away. And then a few years later, she met this guy, and she's in. They're both in their 80s, right? And they stuck it out for 10 years until he passed away.
Yeah.
So, right, like there's that hope that gives you hope that,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter how old I get, there's still that possibility, right?
Mhm. Yeah. No matter what age you're at, it's never too late to find love.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So don't stress that you're almost 30 and it could happen in 50 years. I don't know.
Oh no, not stressed out at all. Like I know I have a lot of time on my hands, and you know I just have to be patient. And yeah, I'm confident somebody will come along.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I've kind of gotten to this point where I'm like, I don't necessarily feel like I need to push it or be like really just like be active about it, I guess. I don't know if active is the right word, but proactive maybe. But just like if it's meant to happen, it'll happen, right? Someone's going to come along when you're not expecting it and something clicks, right?
Mhm.
So, and it's usually when you're not expecting it. So I guess that's what I'm expecting to happen.
And my mom said that to
I'm
me.
expecting the unexpected to happen.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay,
I'll have-
question time for the plaids.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm wearing plaid today. Oh,
Nice.
Oh,
Yours.
I wish I wore mine.
Got the plaid book back here.
it's my pink shirt day. Even though I don't have this is as pink as I could find. So sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay. No, it's just a question for each of you. Do you guys like open relationships, or would you consider yourselves monogamous types?
I've considered the open relationship aspect. I've even done some reading on it. Um, I it's I understand the benefits of why some people do it, and how they can make it work. I don't think it's right for me. Um, I'm I guess I'm kind of the jealous type.
Yes.
Yeah. Like no, you're mine and I want you to be mine and only mine. So
I am more of the monogamous type in the beginning. And if I'd ever consider it to be open, we'd have to make damn sure that we're strong and
Yeah.
we're solid. I've never really been part of one before, but I've been part of a couple before where I inserted myself for a couple of months. So I was the single guy who could just come and go as he pleases. So but that's what's it called? Polyamorous, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another type of there's open and then there's is it called what's the word? Polyamory?
Polyamory is when you're I mean there's different degrees of it, right?
Right.
So like if you're if you're seeing multiple people at the same time and they all know
Right.
about it, that's that open relationship polyamorous kind of thing, right? And then like there's different types of that polyamory, right? Where or you're in a couple and you bring in a third person.
That's what I could definitely define as polyamory was more.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all three date each other, like they're all.
Yeah, like if you're seeing both people, kind of, right? Like if all three of you are kind of
Kind of being
connected,
selfish.
however,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
You're I forget what the term is. Like there's different terms for all the different kinds. Like there's something called relationship anarchy, where you're just off dating everyone. You're not committed to any one person. You're just dating that person, that person, that person, that person, that person, right? And all the people, right? Or there's like a triad or a thruple, I think, right?
Hmm.
Where you're three people together, but you're committed to all three.
It's like, are you cheating on us?
Right. Well,
That's what
no, like you're the three people are committed to
yeah,
each other as a.
I know. I'm
Oh,
just saying. Like,
Jeez, it gets so complicated.
It is, yeah.
that's why I was saying the two people said, "Are you cheating on us?" to the other person. It just sounds weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly. I actually know of a couple who brought in a third, and they seem to be doing well.
Mhm.
I don't think that would be for me though. I from the outside perspective, I think it looks extremely selfish. Like, especially when there's single people like us out there trying to find single people, yet they're hogging other people.
Mhm.
But that's being judgmental. I know that. I'm just saying, from the external side of things, it comes across for a lot of people is quite selfish. But if it works for them, it works for them. More power to them. You know, like I don't know if I could per se. Like I said, I need to be pretty exclusive with the person for at least a couple of years before I'd even entertain being polyamorous or even open.
Mhm.
And if I was to be open, I think I would most likely prefer to have an open relationship where it's only like in a different city or something. Like if I was traveling with like my friend Oliver or something, if I have a partner at home, I would rather me keep my business in another country or whatever, and just obviously cut the emotion out of it and just don't ask, don't tell. I almost wouldn't want to know about the details of my partner's business because it would just make me uncomfortable. I am the jealous type too, so
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to be the jealous type, and like I'm sure there's ways to kind of work through that sort of stuff, but
How do they do it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just that
Yeah,
I don't think it's something that I could do.
and I'm not trying. I don't want the listeners to say I'm calling them selfish. It comes across to a lot of people that I've heard, like on Reddit, that polyamorous people do come across that way because they're not giving people that opportunity. But at the same time, if it works for them, it works for them, right? I mean, that's as long as no one's getting hurt and whatnot. Because what's happening is people who enjoy it are going against societal norms. And that's what's been ingrained in our head. We have to be monogamous. We need to have kids. We need to have that. Who says there has to be rules?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, as long as you're happy and you're not hurting anybody and there's no crimes are being committed.
Yeah.
Let people just do what they want. Right. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. It's totally a societal thing.
Totally.
Too, right. Like
Yeah.
if you go back like millions of years, right? In the beginning, right? Like there are all the apes kind of thing, right? Like there's all, and it's still kind of evident now, right? Like there's this leader, like the primary whatever, it's like, I guess, I don't know, silverback gorilla kind of thing, right? They'll mate with all these others, right? Because their instinct is to propagate the species, right? So they're going to mate with a bunch of other mates, right? And then have as many kids as you can, and then like just kind of try and build the population that way, right? It's an instinctual thing, right? So it makes sense for us to do that as well, right? Like that's why there are so many instances of people cheating on their spouse, right? There is, they want to, I don't know, it's hard to explain. There's this instinctual thing, this instinctual drive, like I have to sow my seed sort of thing, right? But I'm in this relationship, so well, I don't know, maybe I'll just have a little thing over here, right? So that's where that instinct, that evolutionary thing kind of collides with society. So some people want to do it, others don't, and I don't know. That's all I got.
Ew. Talking about apes and shit.
Apes and shit.
Yeah.
But you see it with lions too, right? Like there's that main lion in the
mighty jungle, the lions sleep tonight.
Yeah, there's the main lion, he's the king of the pride kind of thing, and he impregnates all the all the females kind of thing, right? Has as many cubs as they can.
Yeah.
So
as for me, I've been raised and taught to be a monogamous person.
mhm.
So like I only want to be exclusive to one person. But if the person I was with is a bisexual woman and she would want to see some other women out there, I would be willing to be compromisable of that as long as we stay openly communicative and as long as I come first, not anybody else, because this is the relationship we started first before
Yeah.
you went to see other women.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to play mind games here. Like, I just want to be like direct. Like,
That's a
it's important to
question.
stay direct.
So I'm just gonna ask you a question on that.
Sure.
So replace bisexual woman and just say straight woman, and she wants to see other dudes. Is that an issue? And why is that more of an issue versus another woman? I'm just curious.
Oh, with a woman seeing a dude.
Yeah, yeah. Like if they, because you're mentioning something about. I'm just curious. I just want to see where your mind's going.
Yeah.
Like with if you're dating a bisexual woman and she wants to see other women, but what if she wasn't bisexual? She's just straight, but she wanted to see other men. Would you be okay with that or no?
Hell no.
I mean, why not? Because you can't compete, right? Because you have to compete against another man. That's probably what it is, right?
I guess that counts me as a jealous type too.
There you go. No, but it's interesting. Like
Okay, we all have something in common here.
No, but it's interesting, the psychology of like what we have to compete against, right? Like
Yeah.
a man into a pile, or man versus man, right? But it's funny, like when you're mentioning about something that you could be interested in as well. Or like I've heard that a lot from my straight male friends, like, oh yeah, it's going to be a threesome with two chicks. But you know, you throw in another dude, oh, that's fucking gross, or oh, she's not going near that, you know. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's funny.
why would she go out with other dudes when she has me?
Well, because it's an open relationship. Why would she go after bisexual woman if she has you, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
No, I said I would make an effort and I'd be willing to be compromisable of that.
Right. Well, I mean, the
so
way
you'd think about it.
yeah.
Yeah, I would think about it,
Yeah.
and like we have an open conversation about it to see if it can work out.
Mhm.
Because I wouldn't want to support this person's bisexuality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's been other couples out there, whether they're straight or bisexual or whatever, like a straight couple, completely straight, and one wants to go outside because they want to explore their sexuality to other straight people. So it would be the same thing, but different orientation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would take me at least a couple of years for me to really feel that comfortable. I think.
Yeah, in the books that I've read about it, they say like make sure you have a really solid relationship. If this is something you want to explore with your partner, then definitely make sure you've got to be rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and very very good at communicating with each other.
Yeah, like a clear game plan.
Yeah, because that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. All right. I can think of something else interesting we could talk about.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it okay to stay in touch with your ex?
Why not?
Sure, yeah.
Depends on who it is and how it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who wants to go
100%.
first? Dan, you want to go first?
Like I wouldn't say, aside from my ex-wife, um, like she's the only one who I talk to on a semi-regular basis, right? Because we have children together, right? So and we share custody of the kids. So we have that we communicate primarily about the children. We don't necessarily like hang out on a friendly basis and go for coffee or anything like that, right? But we do still communicate. As for any ex-girlfriends and stuff, most I'd say there were a couple of amicable breakups, and some not great at all, and terrible breakups. I don't necessarily talk to those ones at all, but there's a few that I am, I guess you could say, Facebook friends with. You know, like yeah, there's a couple of them that were connected via Facebook or Instagram or whatever, right? So we keep up with each other's lives that way, and maybe the occasional comment, whatever, right? But I wouldn't say I'm close with any of them.
All right. Can I ask you something, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me asking about you and your ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, you did say that both of you are on good terms. You're putting
Yep.
aside what happened to work together to raise your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I did mention we need more of that these days, as human decency right there.
Parenting.
Yeah.
Are you ever curious, like, what she's up to with her life, or have like any point in contact, like, hey, hope you're doing well, or like, happy birthday, or something casual?
Oh yeah, we say happy birthday to each other, right? And all the holiday kind of things, right? Happy Father's Day, Happy Mother's Day, and not necessarily Happy Valentine's Day.
Gee, I wonder why.
But yeah, but we are aware of what goes on in each other's lives, basically, right? Like
Right.
she's maybe not necessarily like I share, hey, I'm going on a date with somebody next weekend kind of thing, right? But if we get into a serious relationship with somebody, we do know about each other. We do know about it because it's going to be something that affects the children as well, right? Like she is engaged to someone else now. They've been together for a few years, quite a few years now, and they have another child together.
I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah. So she's
cool.
she's got 4 kids. 3 of them are mine. But you know, like, so she did tell me when it started getting serious, right? She said, like, I'm seeing somebody and it's pretty important to me, right? And I had that chat with her too as well when I got serious with somebody, right? So because if it's going to be someone who's going to be in the kids' lives, it's important to that we know about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you guys are so strong at communicating with one another, and you guys have
Yeah.
that respect for the kids.
It was not always the case. And you know, and like, we're not perfect at it, right?
No one
There's still
is.
the occasional like, ah, shit, sorry, I totally forgot about whatever, right? Something happened, right? But you know, it's, yeah, like we're probably better. I mean, we're definitely better at communicating with each other now than than when we were married.
But no, that's really cool to hear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if it's somebody that I'm just casually dating, right? Or you know, like we've been together for 2 months, right? It's not at that point, it's not really a serious enough relationship that I need to involve the children in it, right? As we're, you know, it's still new, we're still getting to know each other, we don't know if it's going to go right. So it's kind of that thing where you go, until it gets serious, then I'll introduce you to the kids. You know, if we decide, hey, we really love each other, we want to move in with each other, we want to get married, that sort of thing,
Right.
then we'll want to introduce the kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for sharing that, Dan.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris?
What was the question again?
Chris doesn't have kids.
No.
Oh no, that wasn't the question though.
No. Is it okay to stay in touch with an ex?
Why not? You know, I think it depends on how bad, how severely traumatic it ended, or how beautifully amicably it may have just split on. Like my ex of 10 years, we owned a house together in Kitsilano. My very first apartment I ever bought with him, and we just realized we were growing apart for the last few years, even up to the point where we bought the place together. That's when it really started to come through. And yeah, when we decided to split, we amicably agreed to split the asset 50-50, and everything was paid out equally. He and I dolled up the place, got new wooden floors in to up the value of the revenue or the equity when we sold it. And he helped me move into my new apartment, and it was very amicable, and we kept in touch. And we're not friends today because he ended up rushing into a new relationship immediately. He's very codependent. He needs to be with somebody in order for him to feel validated. He just can't be alone. So whatever, to each his own. I basically lost the weight that he gained, because I was quite a chubby Chelsea back then. See,
Chubby Chelsea?
so now he's rather large and in charge now. I've seen him at the bar. He's quite a bear in the gay community now.
Oh, wow.
And he's got a little cubby bear now who's 10 years younger, and he's got him as well. He looks like his little mama bear and baby bear, pretty much.
Aw.
So but I don't know, something happened. Like we amicably broke up really nicely. But when I saw him several years later at a wedding, he was just the biggest fucking bitch. So rude. So I tried to be friends, but then something just switched. I think he just took one look at me when I lost overweight, and yeah, I think I was wearing his blazer that day too, because that was the blazer that I really, really wanted to wear one day, and I took it with me after we split. And I was able to finally put it on one day when I lost the weight. So I don't know if he saw me wearing it, but I don't think that was the case, or he would have asked for it back. But yeah, but we talked later on, but he was just a real bitch that day. But overall, it really depends on the ex, on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I dated a guy for a couple of months who ended up being an extreme narcissist, gaslighty. He's not like Brazil. He was like, but he was more in your face, very aggressive. He was very manipulative and threatening. He actually threatened my life when I tried to get out of the relationship. He basically said, if I find any other reason why you got out of this relationship, I'm coming after you, were his words. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's one person I do not want to be friends with.
Yeah,
I ended up having to almost get a restraining order. That was 10 years ago.
Damn.
From Surrey. Yeah. And sorry, Jake, you had a question?
How the hell do you keep meeting these people?
Thank you. That's Brad's line.
It's my line now. He's not here.
I met him on Grindr, but this guy was just like very persistent at grooming me. He was very nice when we first met. He went to the White Spot on 72nd and Scott Road, paid for dinner, and then we had a mutual interest of like Melrose Place and 90210, because we're 90s kids. And he invited me over for dinner with a couple of my really good friends, and he wined and dined us, and it seemed like it seemed like a real, almost like not a real life, like a movie, right? But it's a typical grooming of a narcissist. They'll take their victim and massage them to the point where they feel like they're propped up on top of the world. And as soon as you start to get to know them, which I did within one month of dating them, you'll see their true colors, and they'll either be like aggressive, or they'll start throwing things against you to make you question your own sanity. Yeah, this particular person, like, he took me to one of his events that he had for work, and drank excessively, and he just got a little bit forceful with me, like when we were dancing, and I felt uncomfortable.
Oh man.
And he's like, "You're my boyfriend. You should feel comfortable around me," and blah blah blah. Like he was,
Whoa.
it was really gross. And he
What?
drove me home, and I think he was drinking, where his friend was there, and I got out of the car, and then I just tried to talk about it, and he just like snapped at me. He said, "You shouldn't be on." I was just talking to my friend Barb there, and he's calling me rude, and it was just like, "You're my boyfriend. You should be able to feel comfortable," and wasn't respecting my boundaries. And then,
What in the actual fuck?
so then he slammed the door and like drove off, and yeah, then I think that was maybe the last time I ever seen him. But I remember I was just getting panic attacks after that. I was like one after the other, and I remember like trying to decorate the Christmas tree with my friend Barb, and I couldn't even put the ornaments on the tree because I was shaking so much. I was so scared. And I remember when I finally decided to get out of it, I had to put on a actor phase of saying, I'm just don't know what's going on with me. I've got major anxiety. I just cannot, I just don't have what it takes to be in a relationship right now. I just really need to get myself well. So I had to put on an act where I was troubled with mental health issues, and I was suffering, but I had to say it in a way that would get me out safely. And even to that extreme where I was putting on a pretty good show, so to speak, he did whatever he could to undermine me and just undercut me. And he basically called me bipolar, and he's like, "Get medicated," all in caps on a text message. And he was cheating on me. My friend told me he was seeing somebody at the bar, and he saw him with him, and he told me to go meet him there, and I saw him with another guy. So yeah, and even on that, I tried to get out safely, and he basically said, well, me and Harry realized how much we've meant to one another, and hope you find what you're looking for. So he just loves to throw that jab in, right? So that was 10 years ago. But yeah, so would I ever talk to that ex? Absolutely not. Yeah, I used to call him the elephant trunk. He had more. I'm going to be gross. You can blurt this out if you want. More skin on his dick than actual dick. Like fucking like Danny DeVito, like the gay version, like piece of shit.
Oh, okay.
You can bleep that out if you want.
So basically, he's a lot
But
shorter than
that
me.
was one of the most scariest moments of my life. That dating a psycho, like that was. Does that sound pretty scary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, definitely not one you want to keep in touch with.
I get chills. I've
Leave that bitch out.
I never told you guys about this before, but that was very scary. That was before I started hanging out more often in Surrey Delta with the arts.
Yeah.
So even when I do a show for GNS or rehearsals, I sometimes think, like, because he lives so close in North Delta, I think like he's coming after me sometimes. Like it's just it scares me. But it turns out many years later, I bumped into a couple of his best friends who he was hanging out with at the time, and he bullied them too. He actually went as far as obtaining credit information on one of his friend's accounts and started using her credit card, paying for $15,000 worth of goods and services, whatever he bought.
Oh, wow.
What?
She took him to court, and he almost went to jail. So
he's a piece of shit.
oh, big time.
Wow.
So ask me that question again. Where do I find these people?
Where do you find
so
where
then,
the fuck do you find these people?
so then you talk about an experience like that, and then you thank your lucky stars that you're single and that you're safe and you have to deal with that shit. So there's trash, and then there's trash. So yeah, those are two very different types of exes, a very, very unique dichotomy.
Yeah.
So and then there's the Brazilian. He's kind of like very unique in his own. Like he's just another piece of shit. But
the list goes on and on, people.
Yes. So, but I haven't really had anybody that I've been dating in my 40s. It's been 4 years into my 40s now, and I think I'm just becoming a lot more comfortable in my own skin. I just don't really give a shit who's here or who's not. I mean, it would be nice, but I'm not, like Jake says, like I'm not. I don't really have that disease to please as much anymore. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I also know there's a ton of miserable people who are in relationships who are stuck. And that, let me tell you, being in a relationship and being stuck and miserable is probably the most loneliness, miserable feeling in the world. I can honestly say that for every fiber of my being. It's I've been there at the end of my last 10 years, and then obviously with those two fuck faces. So yeah. And maybe, and I think a lot of these people who we do date, maybe they're here to teach us a lesson, because I think when we do get intimate with someone, a lot of our shit can come to the surface. And that's where we have to really look inside of ourselves and realize what work we need to do based on those experiences, what they can bring out in us too, right? Like, I had to look at the psycho Jim and figure out, okay, what areas do I need to work on that provoke that panic? Well, I need to maybe trust my intuition a little bit more. I didn't have good intuition when he was first messaging me. Something just didn't feel right. I was talking to somebody today, and I was just getting a really gross feeling. He messaged me on Facebook dating, and it just he was just asking me questions like, would you like to talk on Messenger? And I'm like, no, this is fine. So we just carried on, and then he asked it again, and I'm like, okay, you're asking me a question on something I've already said no to, so are you not respecting my boundaries? So then I blocked him. Like, I won't put up with that. I just, you don't respect no for an answer, then you can take my, that's what block button's for. Now that's when it's useful. So yeah, I feel good that I was able to talk to you guys about that experience, because that was something I don't really talk about often. But it was a very scary time in my life. So
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh no, we really appreciate you sharing all that, Chris.
Yeah. Yes.
You are a fabulous human being. And honestly, it's not you, it's those dipshits you have to deal with. Because like, you are a very kind, compassionate, intelligent human being who has a lot to offer.
Yeah, but how do those fuck faces get in relationships then? That's my question. Why do they get rewarded, and the rest of us who are good people don't? But the question is, are we getting rewarded? Like, are they rewarded? I mean, maybe they've got slaves and victims. I feel sorry for the guy that Jim that I married.
But either way, don't let that bring you down.
Oh no,
or
I know.
define who you are.
Yeah.
I thought you'd like to hear that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You are marvelous.
I try.
Exactly.
And I still moisturize, and my cheekbones are still pointing to the sky, so it's all good.
Amen to that.
I just have to get my I still have to get my liposuction here a little bit.
Oh my god.
Oh, come
I know.
on. Okay, I want to answer the question.
Well, yeah,
you want to answer the question of,
I do.
should you or do you keep in touch with your exes?
Good question.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight.
Okay. Just like
I'm kidding.
Basically, Chris's answer, not everybody he stays in touch with. All right, anyways, I don't stay in touch with my exes, and it's best if I keep it that way, because just every person I meet are mentally unstable, unfortunately. I don't know how that's always a trend in my case. And like, as I said before, like, I've had breakups I wish didn't happen. And because of that, it's best if I like move on from that and like not associate with their lives anymore.
Right.
And yeah, just go on with someone new. But my third relationship, the person I told you guys about, who I had the best time with, but had to break up because unfortunately she didn't have a lot to offer and like always plays the victim, that person. I mean, surprisingly, we occasionally talked. Like, she would like tell me something funny that happened one day, and I would wish her a happy opening to a show she was in last holiday. Yeah, so in a way, I am like learning and experimenting with how to stay on good terms with someone. So it's like all about not like not putting an obligation to like constantly tell someone like what's going on with your life, but like an occasional hi, how you doing, or happy birthday, or congratulations with this. Like, I bet it can't hurt. But I mean, being best friends with someone you were in a relationship with, that is a no-go. Usually.
Yeah, it very special circumstances would that happen.
So yeah, there's my answer right there. I mean, like, I can't compete with Chris because his is so long and had a lot to say. But
Sorry.
Are you saying Chris gets around?
I mean, how does he meet more people than I do?
I'm not a
That-
slut. I'm a previously enjoyed companion. Because I'm
Yeah.
older. I'm significantly older than you, number one.
Yeah, there's that, and like, plus you have more life experience, and like,
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And
well, I mean, that's another way
well,
of saying it.
Wait,
And
when
let's
you
be
were
honest
16, I
here.
was 30, right? So
and let's be honest here. Cheekbones.
oh, no.
I have a long way to go, you guys.
You got a long way to go.
Implants.
I mean, my face is like potato shaped.
Potato Man. Mr. Potato Head. Mr. What was it? They don't do Mr. Potato Head anymore.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so easy to look from the outside when you see all these happy couples, but they're not necessarily always happy. You really don't know what's going on behind closed doors either. So when
Mhm.
it comes to that comparing ourselves to others, we really just have to look at ourselves and think what we do have, what we do have to offer, and what we already do have.
Be happy with who you are. Be happy with what
Exactly.
you have. And if it happens, it happens.
And if it doesn't, fuck off.
That's okay too.
Preach.
And on that note, I think we've had a good discussion here.
Yes, we have.
Thank you, listeners in podcast land, for allowing us to vent and discuss our plaid love lives here. Let's just speak for Brad really quickly, since he is not here. He is in a marriage, and they seem to be very happy.
Oh, good
And-
for him.
Yeah, great.
Great.
Congratulations.
Wonder if he's going to remember if he's married, because he can't remember to come to the podcast.
He can- Ooh, throwing some shade.
No, but we love you, Brad. We're kidding.
Someone who can't remember shit.
Ah,
I'm kidding. I love Brad. I love.
We
Brad.
love Brad.
Yeah, we
Then-
love Brad.
he needs constant email reminders.
You can slap us later, but we might enjoy it, right, Brad?
But that's okay. We
Yeah.
love our brother anyway. And that being said, you have been listening to the Plaid Podcast. Thank you for joining us. You can find us on Podbean and all places where podcasts are played and streamed, whatever the term you want to call it. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. We might mention you on the podcast here. Thanks for listening. You follow us on Twitter. No, not Twitter. We're not on Twitter.
Twitter.
I barely
Facebook?
twit.
What's
I barely
Twitter?
twit. I don't know.
Instagram.
Instagram. Thank you. Instagram and Facebook at the Plaid Podcast. My name is Dan Wilhelm. You can follow me on Instagram and the Twitter with the occasional random tweet, but it's very rare. At Dan Wilhelm, Dan with 2 N's. And there's YouTube channels that you can see me on and all of that kind of stuff. I'm on Twitch as well, Dan with 4 N's. 1976 is my handle there. Not that I've done anything a lot on there either, because I'm doing a show right now in White Rock and it's keeping me busy.
Woo! Go Dan.
Busy girl.
So what's that?
Busy girl. Uh-huh.
Busy girl. Yeah. Faux show.
Busy. Well, in that case, I'm Miss Pig.
that's Miss Pig
That's Miss
at
Pig. Yeah, well,
ms.pig.
yeah, they're ms ms dot pig 79. on Instagram. That's my other friend, but my real name, Christopher Hall. Christopher underscore Hall. Thank you. Underscore theater is my Instagram handle, and you can also find me Christopher Hall Vancouver Theater on YouTube. That's it. Jake.
And once again, I am Jake Hildebrand. You can follow me on J Hildebrand Official on Instagram. And you can follow me on YouTube, where I post cover videos and original music. I'm working on original music right now, and oh my god, I haven't posted anything in a while, guys. I need to get on with something.
Yeah. Get on that, would you?
Yeah, I'm behind with you as well,
I'm
Jake.
trying.
I got a couple of Miss Pig episodes. I'm behind too, so I totally get what you're saying.
Come on, slackers. Yeah, like I should talk though. I haven't released anything on my YouTube channel since
I
Christmas.
know.
Oh, on Dan Sings too.
Dancing's too, yeah. No.
And Jake, we're supposed to do a song together on our thing about 2 years ago.
Oh,
For the Queen,
ah,
remember?
that's
Get
right.
on that.
Ah,
Get
yeah. Crap.
on that.
Let's make an effort to do that then next time. We'll take it
Okay.
offline.
Okay. All right.
Get on that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, you guys. I hope you had a great time.
Cue the music.